What's up? I'm going to be doing an unboxing and review of the RG350m, which is an all-metal handheld emulator. So let's get into it. First we have the unboxing. Just a basic box that's pretty good quality. There's a little piece of foam for protection, console, a USB-C cable, user manual, and a quick start guide. And that's everything that comes into the box. Now back to the console. It's wrapped in this soft plastic bag. And there it is. It's an all-metal body with a changed left stick and D-pad placement. Here are the changes on the edge of the body. Power, the ports, the volume, SD card, and the reset button. And then here's just a good look at the console itself. And let's see if it turns on. Yeah, it looks like it is turning on, so there's some charge to it when you get it. It looks to be about more than half charged. I've already done a review on the RG350, so for what kind of games it plays and how well it does them, I'm going to refer you to that video. In this one, I'm just going to be comparing the two and what upgrades the new one brings. The first thing is the all-metal construction. It makes the console feel very premium and sturdy. Really doesn't feel like you're gonna break this thing, though I'm sure it's possible. The back has these rubber grips on it that makes it feel more comfortable to hold, but they also prevent it from getting damaged or sliding around when it's set on a table, so that's also a plus to them. The face buttons are slightly less raised, which is a good thing for me, as I thought the buttons on the original were raised too far out of the system, so this is a welcome change. The D-pad is also in a better position for 2D games, which are going to be the majority of things you play on this, so I think it's another change for the better. It's also a slightly different mold than the old one, though it wasn't enough for me to notice it when actually playing. It definitely makes platforming and side-scrolling a lot easier than the old one, because the placement of the D-pad on the old one sometimes would cramp my thumb up, making it a little harder. The start and select buttons stick out further than the regular one, and aren't as clicky, which I don't like as much, but that's more of a preference because they aren't really used in most games that much. The next big thing is that the sticks are moved in more of a PlayStation layout and changed to Joy-Con sticks, which are recessed into the body so that they are low profile, and this just makes the system more pocketable. If you like the sticks on the Nintendo Switch, then you'll like these. I think the Joy-Con sticks are better than the old ones because they have a bit more resistance, which makes them more precise for movement in games that use them. The old sticks were just loose feeling and I didn't prefer them. The shoulder buttons feel more solid overall and have less wiggle in them than the original one did. The power button is moved to the side instead of on the bottom of the system, which I don't personally like as much because it is used as a menu button in some emulators and it just makes it harder to hit. It's not really that big of a deal though. The volume button is also moved from the bottom to the side, which doesn't make much of a difference. The bottom of the system now has just the speakers, the internal SD card, the reset button, and external SD card. And the top of the system is exactly the same as the original. Then probably the biggest upgrade is the screen. It's a 3.5-inch IPS display with a resolution of 640 by 480, with the original being a resolution of 320 by 240, so it's double the resolution. And I'm not sure how noticeable it is on camera, but in person it's a pretty big difference. And there are other good things about the screen as well, as it's closer to the top glass so dirt can't get in between it and the screen like it could in the old one. I did notice while making this review though that there is a little light leak in the bottom of the display on the left and right corners. I didn't notice them in game, but going through the different menus and things is what made me notice them. All of the emulators run the same as on the old one. Everything that ran fine on the regular one will work here. One of the problems I ran into was when playing the NES emulator. In order to get it to run games in full screen, you have to set the screen to the 320 setting and then hit the power button plus the A button at the same time. And unfortunately you have to do this every time you play an NES game. It doesn't remember the setting. It's not a huge deal, but an annoyance for sure. Another problem I have is that it doesn't set the folder for each emulator like it did on the old one. And you can try and set it manually, but it doesn't work for most of the emulators. There is sort of a workaround, and that is to turn on the Save Last Selection setting, and it'll go to the last folder that launched a game, and this is per emulator. So it's not as good as the old way, but it works okay. The volume also doesn't seem to get as quiet as the old one, but it's not that loud, so it's another small issue. The HDMI out worked right out of the box for me, but I believe for some of them it will require you to update the firmware. It seems to work well, but it sometimes makes loading games up slower and it takes a while for it to show up on the screen. And also, whenever you unplug it, the screen of the unit just stays black, so you have to restart it. So just make sure you save your game before you unplug the HDMI cord. It has the same battery as the regular one, which should give slightly less battery life than the old one because it has a higher resolution screen, but it's not something that I've noticed yet. Now for the price. It normally goes for around $130. You can sometimes find it for less, but this is a little expensive of an upgrade for no performance increase. I would say unless you want the changed D-pad, the low profile sticks, or the upgraded screen and are willing to pay for it, just stick with the regular RG350 as that goes for around $80 and is still a really good device. I know the RG350p is coming out soon, which has all of the upgrades of the 350m, but it doesn't have a metal body. So that seems like another good option as it looks like it's going to go for around $100. Personally, now that I have felt the metal body, it's hard for me to go back to the plastic because the metal just feels really nice. There's my review and comparison on the RG350m. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe for more content coming soon. Thanks for watching. I hope he comes and revives me next. Or you can revive me.
Yeah. I can't.
Somebody.
You're like stuck in this rock. You're just gonna have to die.
Please. Please.
We're like gangbanging you.
Help me.
Bye.
No.